The arrival. In the quiet town of Willow Creek, nestled between rolling hills and lush forests, Xander had always felt a deep connection with nature. As an entomologist, he spent countless hours studying the intricate lives of insects, finding beauty in their complex societies and behaviors. His current project involved observing the local bee populations, which had been acting strangely in recent weeks. Mira, on the other hand, was more skeptical about the significance of Xander's work. As an astrophysicist at the nearby research facility, she focused on the stars above rather than the creatures below. "Xander," she said one afternoon as they walked through the fields buzzing with activity, "you can't honestly believe that these bees are doing anything extraordinary." Xander paused to watch a swarm of bees dance in unison around their hive. "You see that? They're communicating in ways we're just beginning to understand. It's like they're holding a conference up there." Mira rolled her eyes but couldn't help but smile at his enthusiasm. "While you're busy watching bees, I'm trying to make sense of signals from space that could indicate extraterrestrial life." Little did they know that their worlds were about to collide. High above them in low Earth orbit, an alien ship known as Xiphron hovered silently. Inside its metallic hull, Commander Vexer surveyed the blue planet below through large observation windows. He was unimpressed by what he saw, just another Class D planet filled with primitive life forms. "Why are we wasting our time here?" Vexer grumbled to his crew of xenobiologists and engineers who were busy analyzing readings from their sensors. Lyra, one of the xenobiologists aboard Xiphron, adjusted her eyepiece and peered at her console. "Commander, you should reconsider. The biodiversity here is remarkable. There are millions of species." "Quantity does not equal quality," Vexer interrupted sharply. "Prepare for our next scan, we need to find something more promising." As Xiphron prepared to move on, Xander and Mira were oblivious to the impending encounter with extraterrestrial beings. That evening, while Xander reviewed his notes on bee communication patterns at his makeshift lab in his garage, he received an alert from Mira's research facility about unusual atmospheric disturbances detected over Willow Creek. "Hey, Xander. You need to see this," Mira exclaimed over a video call. "What is it?" he asked, intrigued. "The satellite just picked up some strange electromagnetic signals coming from, well, your bees." Xander's heart raced as he pulled up the data on his computer screen. "What kind of signals?" "It seems like they're responding to something, almost like they're trying to communicate with each other in a way we've never seen before." Suddenly, there was a loud rumble outside that shook Xander's garage. He rushed outside just in time to see Xiphron descending through the clouds above them, a massive chrome structure casting shadows over the fields below. "Is that?" Mira gasped from her screen. "Yes," Xander whispered in awe as he watched the ship land not far from his lab. As night fell over Willow Creek, Xander felt a mix of excitement and fear wash over him. He knew this was an opportunity unlike any other, a chance to witness first contact with beings from another world. Meanwhile, aboard Xiphron, Vexer was preparing for their initial exploration of Earth's surface. "We will collect samples and data," he ordered his crew with confidence that belied his growing unease about what lay ahead. As Xander gathered his equipment and prepared for what could be humanity's most significant moment in history, he had no idea how crucial the bees would become in this unfolding drama between Earth and its unexpected visitors. With every passing second, both humans and aliens were about to discover that they had underestimated one another, and that even the smallest creatures could change the course of events dramatically. This sets up a compelling start for your story while introducing new characters and themes aligned with your request for an engaging narrative about humans and aliens intersecting through Earth's insects. The swarm awakens. In the rural outskirts of Willow Creek, Jax was tending to his bees, a passion that had been passed down through generations in his family. The sun was setting, casting a golden hue over the fields as he inspected the hives. Each gentle buzz of the bees brought him a sense of peace, but today felt different. There was an unusual energy in the air, and the bees seemed more agitated than usual. Jax wiped his brow and leaned closer to the hive, noticing a peculiar pattern in their movements. "What are you up to, girls?" he murmured, observing how they danced in tight formations. It was as if they were communicating something urgent among themselves. Suddenly, his phone buzzed in his pocket. It was Alara, a local environmental activist and his close friend. "Jax. Have you seen the news? There's something strange happening with the bee populations across the country," she exclaimed. "What do you mean?" Jax asked, intrigued. "Reports are coming in about swarms behaving unusually, like they're organizing or something." "It's all over social media," Alara replied, her voice filled with excitement and concern. Jax stepped back from the hive, his heart racing. "I noticed something odd today too. They seem different. Like they're trying to tell me something." Alara paused for a moment before responding. "Meet me at my place. We need to figure this out." As Jax made his way to Alara's house, he couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was unfolding. The world outside felt charged with electricity, and he sensed that it wasn't just the bees that were reacting to whatever was happening. When he arrived at Alara's home, she was already surrounded by papers and charts spread across her dining table. "Look at this," she said, pointing at a map dotted with various locations marked in red. "These are reports of unusual bee activity from all over the country." Jax leaned closer to examine the data. "It's like they're forming some kind of network," he said thoughtfully. "But why?" Alara nodded vigorously. "Exactly. And it's not just here, scientists are baffled by it too. They think it might be related to those strange metal structures that have appeared globally." Jax's mind raced as he recalled seeing one of those structures on his way home from town, a massive metallic tower rising ominously in a nearby field. What if these structures are affecting them somehow? Maybe they're amplifying their communication? Alara's eyes lit up with excitement. That could explain why their behavior is changing. "We need to investigate one of those stations." The two friends quickly gathered supplies and headed out into the night, determined to uncover the truth behind the mysterious changes in their buzzing companions. The journey begins. As they approached the metal structure, Jax felt a mix of awe and apprehension. The towering station hummed softly, its surface glistening under the moonlight like a giant mushroom sprouting from the earth. He could see swarms of bees swirling around it, their movements synchronized as if choreographed. "Look at them," Jax whispered in amazement. "They're drawn to it." Alara pulled out her phone and began recording video footage. "This is incredible. We need to document everything." As they observed from a distance, Jax noticed that some bees were landing on the structure and then flying back toward their hives in rapid succession. It was as if they were relaying information back to their colonies. "Do you think they're trying to warn each other?" Jax asked. "Maybe," Alara replied thoughtfully. "Or perhaps they're learning how to use this structure to enhance their communication." Suddenly, a loud noise erupted from within the station, a deep rumbling sound that sent vibrations through the ground beneath their feet. Jax instinctively took a step back, eyes wide with fear. "What was that?" Alara exclaimed, her voice trembling. Before they could react further, beams of light shot out from the structure into the sky like searchlights scanning for something unseen. The bees swarmed around these beams, seemingly undeterred by the commotion. "We should get closer," Jax urged, driven by curiosity despite his fear. As they approached cautiously, Alara noticed something even more alarming: small drones hovering around the station, capturing data and monitoring bee activity closely. "This isn't just some research project," she said quietly but firmly. "They're harvesting resources, possibly honey." Jax felt anger boiling within him as he watched more bees flock toward the drones as if trying to protect their territory from intruders. "We can't let them take what doesn't belong to them," he declared passionately. Ilara nodded in agreement but knew they needed more evidence before taking action. Let's gather as much data as we can tonight. A new alliance. As hours passed and dawn began to break over Willow Creek, Jax and Ilara worked tirelessly documenting everything, the bees' behavior around the station and its strange machinery. They took notes on how many bees were interacting with both the drones and the metal structure itself. "We need help," Ilara finally said as fatigue set in her voice. "We can't take on this operation alone." "Who do you have in mind?" Jax asked. "I know Dr. Luna Martinez from the entomology conference I attended last year," she replied thoughtfully. "She's been studying bee behavior extensively and might be able to help us understand what's happening." With a plan forming in their minds, they packed up their gear and headed back home to contact Dr. Martinez. Meanwhile, aboard Xiphron, Commander Vexer received reports about unusual insect activity on Earth that had begun interfering with their harvesting operations. "These insects are proving more resilient than anticipated," Lyra reported nervously as she reviewed data on her console. Vexer dismissed her concerns initially but soon realized that underestimating Earth's insects could lead to unforeseen consequences for their mission. Back on Earth, Jax and Ilara reached out to Dr. Luna Martinez via video call early that morning. Her face lit up with excitement when she heard about their findings. "This is groundbreaking," Dr. Martinez exclaimed after listening intently to their observations about bee behavior around the alien structures. "We believe these structures are affecting them somehow, amplifying their communication," Ilara explained eagerly. Dr. Martinez nodded thoughtfully before responding, "If we can prove that these aliens are exploiting our bees for resources without understanding their intelligence or significance in our ecosystem, we might be able to stop them." With renewed determination and an unexpected alliance forming between humans and insects alike, Jax and Ilara prepared for what lay ahead, an adventure filled with discovery and resistance against an alien force that had underestimated Earth's most industrious creatures. As they delved deeper into this mystery, little did they know that soon enough, humanity would rally behind its smallest defenders, the bees, and together they would confront an alien threat unlike anything Earth had ever faced before. This part continues building tension while introducing new characters and developing themes of cooperation between humans and nature against external threats. The alien perspective. A new understanding. High above Earth, aboard the Taxonomy Prime, Commander Vexer stared at the swirling blue planet through the ship's observation window. The vastness of space surrounded them, but his focus was solely on the strange world below. He had dismissed Earth as just another Class D planet, filled with primitive life forms. However, recent reports from his crew had begun to pique his interest. "Nom, what are you seeing down there?" Vexer asked, turning to the ship's chief xenobiologist. Nom adjusted their sensory stalks, scanning the electromagnetic frequencies emitted by Earth's inhabitants. "Commander, I am detecting unusual patterns among the insect populations," Nom replied, their mandibles clicking with a mix of curiosity and irritation. "The bees are exhibiting coordinated behaviors that we have not observed before." Vexer raised an eyebrow, intrigued yet skeptical. "Are you suggesting that these insects possess some form of intelligence? They are merely small creatures." "Perhaps, but the data suggests otherwise," Nom insisted. "They are responding to our presence in ways that indicate a higher level of communication than previously believed." As Vexer pondered this information, Lyra, a young xenobiologist with bright green appendages, joined the conversation. "Commander, if we underestimate these insects, we may be making a grave mistake. Their collective behavior could be more advanced than we realize." Vexer sighed, still unconvinced. "We have our mission to complete. Harvesting resources is our priority. Let us not get distracted by these tiny creatures. The harvesting begins." Meanwhile, back on Earth, Dr. Luna Martinez was analyzing data from her research station in Colorado. She had been monitoring bee populations for years and had never seen anything like this before. The automated harvesting stations set up by the aliens were collecting honey on an industrial scale, but they were also inadvertently amplifying bee communication. "Clarence," she said to her AI assistant, "what do you make of these new patterns?" Detecting significant increases in swarm coordination, Clarence replied in its calm digital voice. "Patterns suggest that bees are organizing themselves into larger groups and sharing information across vast distances." Luna's eyes widened with excitement. "This could change everything. If we can prove that these aliens are disrupting their natural behavior, we might be able to stop them." She quickly gathered her notes and prepared to present her findings at the upcoming International Entomology Conference in Geneva. With each passing moment, she felt more determined to expose the truth about what was happening to Earth's bees. The conference. On the day of the conference, scientists from around the globe gathered to discuss their latest research on insects and ecosystems. Luna took a deep breath as she stepped onto the stage, her heart pounding with anticipation. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began confidently, "today I will present evidence that challenges our understanding of insect intelligence, specifically regarding honeybees." As she spoke about their complex communication systems and democratic decision-making processes within colonies, she noticed some attendees rolling their eyes or stifling yawns. But Luna pressed on. "Recent data shows that bees are not just responding to environmental changes, they are actively organizing against an external threat, the harvesting stations set up by an alien species." The room fell silent as her words sank in. Luna continued to present her findings about how the bees were using their enhanced communication abilities to coordinate efforts across continents. A shift in perception. Meanwhile, back on Taxonomy Prime, Vexor received reports about unusual insect activity that was beginning to interfere with their harvesting operations. "Commander," Lyra said urgently as she reviewed incoming data from Earth's surface. "The bees are forming large swarms and behaving in ways we did not anticipate. They seem to be coordinating against our stations." Vexor frowned at this unexpected development. "What do you propose we do?" "We should analyze their behavior further before proceeding with additional harvests," Lyra suggested cautiously. "If they are indeed organizing against us, it could pose a significant threat." Vexor hesitated but finally nodded in agreement. "Fine. We will observe for now but prepare for potential countermeasures if necessary." The bees unite. Back on Earth, Jax and Alara were busy gathering more evidence about the bees' unusual behavior and sharing it with Dr. Martinez. They had been recording videos of swarms moving in perfect synchronization around the alien harvesting stations. "This is incredible," Jax exclaimed as he reviewed footage of thousands of bees dancing together in intricate patterns around one of the stations. Alara nodded excitedly. "They're communicating. It's like they're planning something big." Dr. Martinez joined them with a determined look on her face. "We need to get this information out there before it's too late. If we can rally public support and awareness about what's happening to our bees, we might stand a chance against these aliens." Together they crafted a plan to spread awareness through social media campaigns and local community meetings, hoping to mobilize people across the country. A call to action. As news spread about the alien threat and its impact on bee populations, communities began organizing rallies and educational events focused on protecting local ecosystems. Jax and Alara took part in these gatherings, sharing their findings and encouraging others to appreciate the vital role bees play in maintaining biodiversity. "We cannot let them take what belongs to us," Jax shouted passionately at one rally attended by hundreds of people holding signs advocating for bee protection. Alara stood beside him, raising her voice as well. "Together we can make a difference. If we unite for our bees, we can show these aliens that they underestimated us." As they rallied support from local communities and scientists alike, Luna prepared for a critical presentation at an international conference where she hoped to gain global attention for their cause. This part expands on the perspectives of both humans and aliens while highlighting themes of cooperation and resilience against an external threat. It sets up further developments for future parts while maintaining engagement through simple language and relatable characters. The gathering storm. A new threat emerges. As the sun began to rise over Willow Creek, Jax and Alara were already hard at work, poring over their data and preparing for their next steps. The previous night had been a whirlwind of revelations, and they knew time was of the essence. The alien harvesting stations were spreading across the globe like wildfire, and with each passing day, more bees were being drawn into their web. "We need to get in touch with Luna," Jax said, his voice filled with urgency. "She's our best chance at rallying the scientific community to take action." Alara nodded in agreement, her brow furrowed with concern. "If we can get enough evidence together, we might be able to convince them that the bees are more than just insects, they're vital to our ecosystem and our survival." They quickly drafted an email to Dr. Luna Martinez, detailing their findings and urging her to join their cause. As they hit send, Jax felt a surge of hope mixed with anxiety. They were up against powerful forces, but they had to believe that their efforts would make a difference. A call for unity. Meanwhile, Dr. Luna Martinez was busy preparing her presentation for the upcoming international conference in Geneva. She had gathered a wealth of data about the bees' coordinated behaviors and the implications of the alien harvesting stations. As she reviewed her slides, a notification popped up on her screen, an email from Jax and Alara. Curious, she opened it and read through their observations. Her heart raced as she realized the implications of their findings. The bees were not only responding to the aliens, they were organizing themselves in ways that suggested a higher level of intelligence than anyone had previously acknowledged. Luna quickly replied to Jax and Alara, expressing her eagerness to collaborate and suggesting they meet before the conference to strategize. "We need to present a united front," she wrote. "If we can show that the bees are capable of complex behaviors, we might be able to sway public opinion and pressure authorities into taking action." Preparing for battle. As Jax and Alara prepared for their meeting with Luna, news of the alien harvesting stations continued to spread. Social media was abuzz with reports from beekeepers around the world who had noticed strange changes in their hives. Videos of swarms moving in synchronized patterns went viral, capturing the attention of environmental activists and scientists alike. "We should organize a protest," Alara suggested as they gathered at Luna's research station. "If we can mobilize enough people, we can draw attention to this issue." Luna nodded thoughtfully. "A protest could be effective, but we also need solid scientific evidence to back our claims. We must convince both the public and policymakers that these aliens pose a real threat." Jax chimed in, "What if we create a visual representation of what's happening? We could use infographics and videos showing the bees' behavior alongside footage of the harvesting stations." With a plan taking shape, they spent hours brainstorming ideas and gathering materials for their presentation. They knew they had to act quickly, every moment counted as more bees fell victim to the alien operations. The protest begins. A few days later, Jax, Alara, and Luna stood at the forefront of a large crowd gathered outside a government building in downtown Willow Creek. Banners waved overhead reading slogans like, "Save our bees," and "Protect our pollinators." The atmosphere was electric as activists from various organizations joined forces to raise awareness about the alien threat. As Luna took the stage to address the crowd, she felt a surge of adrenaline coursing through her veins. "Thank you all for being here today. We are facing an unprecedented crisis that threatens not only our bees but our entire ecosystem." The crowd erupted in cheers as she shared her research findings about bee intelligence and their coordinated responses to the alien harvesting stations. She emphasized how vital these insects were for pollination and food production. "We cannot allow these aliens to exploit our natural resources without understanding their consequences," Luna declared passionately. An unexpected response. As Luna spoke, Jax noticed something strange happening in the sky above them. Dark clouds began rolling in ominously, casting shadows over the crowd. He squinted against the sunlight as he pointed upward. "Look," he shouted, drawing everyone's attention. The crowd gasped as they saw swarms of bees rising into the air from nearby fields. They formed intricate patterns above them, dancing in unison as if responding to Luna's call for action. "See? They're here with us!" Ilara exclaimed excitedly. The sight was mesmerizing. Thousands of bees spiraled together overhead while drones from the alien harvesting stations hovered silently nearby. The contrast between nature's beauty and technological intrusion was stark. Suddenly, a loud rumble echoed through the air as one of the alien ships descended closer to Earth. People gasped in fear as it loomed above them like an ominous shadow. The confrontation. Just then, Vexer stood at his command center aboard Taxonomy Prime, watching live feeds from Earth's surface with growing frustration. "What is happening down there?" he demanded as he observed humans gathering en masse beneath his ship. Lyra turned toward him with concern etched on her face. "Commander, it appears they are rallying against us, using their insect allies as a form of protest." Vexer clenched his mandibles in irritation. "This is unacceptable. We must proceed with our harvests regardless of their antics." Lyra hesitated but then spoke up boldly. "We should consider changing our approach. If these insects are indeed capable of organized behavior." "Enough!" Vexer interrupted sharply. "We will not be deterred by primitive creatures or their human counterparts." Back on Earth, Jax felt a surge of determination as he watched Luna rallying support among protesters while swarms danced above them like living banners. "We need to show them that we won't back down." Jax shouted into a megaphone he had borrowed from an activist group nearby. The crowd cheered loudly in response, emboldened by his words. A turning point. As tensions mounted between humans and aliens, both sides prepared for what could become an epic confrontation, a battle not just for resources but for respect between species. With every passing moment, it became increasingly clear that this conflict would test humanity's ingenuity and resilience against an underestimated foe. As Jax looked up at the swirling masses of bees above him, a symbol of nature's strength, he felt hope surging within him once more. Together with Luna and Ilara by his side, they were ready to fight back against those who sought to exploit Earth's most precious resources without regard for its inhabitants. This part continues building tension while showcasing human resilience against external threats through protests and collaboration with nature's defenders, the bees, setting up further developments for future parts while maintaining engagement through simple language and relatable characters. The Battle of Wits. A tense standoff. The atmosphere was thick with tension as the crowd outside the government building in Willow Creek faced the hovering alien ship. With its metallic surface glinting ominously in the sunlight, Taxonomy Prime loomed above them, a stark reminder of the extraterrestrial threat that had invaded their world. Jax, Ilara, and Luna stood at the forefront of the protest, rallying their fellow citizens to stand firm against the impending alien exploitation. "Look at them!" Jax shouted, pointing up at the ship. "They think they can just come here and take what they want without any consequences." The crowd erupted in cheers and chants, their voices rising in unison. "Save our bees! Save our planet!" The words echoed through the streets, a powerful declaration of solidarity against an unseen enemy. As Jack scanned the crowd, he felt a surge of hope. People from all walks of life had come together, united by a common cause. They were not just fighting for bees, they were fighting for their planet, their future. The alien response. Inside Taxonomy Prime, Commander Vexer watched the scene unfold through his ship's sensors. His frustration mounted as he observed the humans' defiance. "They are more resilient than I anticipated," he muttered to Lyra, who stood beside him at the control panel. "Commander, we must consider a different approach," Lyra suggested cautiously. "If we continue with our plans to harvest resources without addressing their concerns, we risk escalating this conflict." Vexor's mandibles clicked in irritation. We are here for a purpose, to collect resources for our home planet. These primitive creatures cannot understand the larger picture. But they are organizing, Lyra pressed. Their bees are responding to our presence in ways that suggest a collective intelligence we underestimated. We should not provoke them further. Vexor reluctantly nodded, his mind racing with possibilities. Very well. We will observe for now but prepare for potential countermeasures if necessary. A plan takes shape. Back on Earth, Jax and Elara huddled with Luna as they brainstormed their next steps. They knew that simply protesting would not be enough, they needed a strategy to confront the aliens directly. We have to find a way to communicate with them, Luna said thoughtfully. If we can show them that we understand their technology and can coexist without conflict, we might be able to reach an agreement. Jax nodded vigorously. But how do we even begin to communicate with beings who see us as inferior? Elara chimed in with an idea. What if we use the bees? They're already responding to the alien signals. If we can harness that communication somehow, it might bridge the gap between us and them. Luna's eyes lit up with excitement. That's brilliant. We could create a signal using sound frequencies that mimic bee communication patterns. Harnessing nature's language. The trio quickly set to work on their plan. They gathered equipment from Luna's research station and began experimenting with sound waves that matched the frequencies used by bees when they communicated. As they worked late into the night, Jax felt a sense of urgency driving him forward. They were racing against time. Every moment counted as more harvesting stations appeared across the globe. Finally, after hours of trial and error, they managed to create a sound pattern that resonated with the bees' natural communication signals. It was a series of rhythmic tones and vibrations designed to mimic their dance patterns. Let's test it out, Elara suggested, her voice filled with anticipation. They set up speakers near one of the nearby hives and played the sound pattern they had created. Almost instantly, the bees began to respond, swirling around in intricate formations as if they understood what was being communicated. It's working! Jax exclaimed, watching in awe as thousands of bees danced together in perfect synchronization. A message sent. With their newfound method of communication ready, Luna prepared to send a message toward Taxonomy Prime. They set up equipment that would amplify their signal and broadcast it directly toward the alien ship. This is our chance, Luna said firmly as she adjusted her equipment. If we can reach them before they make any rash decisions, we might be able to establish some form of dialogue. As Jax activated the transmitter, he felt a mix of excitement and fear wash over him. Would this work? Would they even understand? The sound waves traveled through the air and into space, reaching Taxonomy Prime. Inside the ship, Vexor received an unusual signal on his monitors, a series of rhythmic tones that seemed oddly familiar. What is this? Vexor asked Lyra, intrigued by the unexpected data appearing on his screen. Lyra analyzed it closely. It appears to be mimicking insect communication patterns, specifically those of honeybees. Are they attempting to communicate? Vexor pondered aloud. He felt a flicker of curiosity mixed with skepticism. The unexpected alliance. Back on Earth, Jax and Elara watched anxiously as their message continued broadcasting into space. The crowd around them remained vigilant, chanting slogans and holding signs demanding action against alien exploitation. Suddenly, Luna's equipment beeped urgently, an incoming response from Taxonomy Prime. The three friends exchanged hopeful glances as they prepared to receive whatever message came through. On board Taxonomy Prime, Vexor deliberated over his next move. He knew he should dismiss this primitive attempt at communication but felt an unexpected urge to understand more about these creatures below him. Prepare a response, he ordered Lyra decisively. Let them know we acknowledge their message but will proceed with caution. As Vexor crafted his reply, a simple acknowledgement of their signal, he couldn't shake off an unsettling feeling that perhaps there was more at stake than mere resources, perhaps there was something deeper connecting these two worlds. A new dawn. As dawn broke over Willow Creek, Jax, Elara, and Luna stood together outside under a sky painted with hues of orange and pink. They had sent their message into space and now awaited an answer from beings who had once underestimated them. "We've done everything we can," Elara said softly, her voice filled with hope. "And now we wait," Luna added thoughtfully. Jax looked up at the sky where Taxonomy Prime hovered silently above them, a symbol of both threat and opportunity. He felt an overwhelming sense of determination wash over him. This was just the beginning of something greater than any one individual could achieve alone. With humanity's ingenuity and nature's resilience on their side, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, together. This part concludes with rising tension while showcasing human ingenuity in bridging communication gaps between species through creativity and collaboration with nature's defenders, the bees, setting up further developments for future parts while maintaining engagement through simple language and relatable characters.